Yeah, good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to this YouTube channel. So we are continuing with our tutorial of the other day, talking about data explorations and how to communicate with our data sets. So we have done with how to explore our data from the scratch. So in today's tutorial, we are going to look on how to explore the data set and how to do the aggregation and grouping of the data set, and also how to filter our data set. So we already load our data set into the SQL, so and we are just going to be starting from the beginning how to explore it. So let us fill our data set first before we proceed. Let's say that we want to fill our data set. So I'll start by basic explorations of data set. So let's say basic data exploration. So on this section once, I'll be setting 10 questions based on the data set we have here. So the first question will be based on the data exploration. The first 10 questions will be on data exploration, while the other one shall be for filtering of our data set. So, and our question number one will be fill all records. So we want to fill all the records. Fill all records in the data set. So we want to fill all the records in the data set table. So how can we do that? How can we fill that? So you come here. So since the data set we load is also named data set, you will select and put the asterisk there. Select from data set. Select from data set, then you put the column there. So and you execute this. After you execute this, you are supposed to see all your table. So this is the table of data set we load in. So and you can see the list of the data set, and it is 50 list of our data set we load in. So now after we see the data set, then the next step is let me go to second questions. So and the second question will be based on and I want to fill just five rows of our data set. And how can we go about that? So let me set question 2. I want to fill the first 5 rows. So how can we fill the first 5 rows in our data set? So I think I have to build it a little bit so that I'm able to see what I'm doing. So let me put it a bit. So now if you want to fill the 5 rows of your data set, you select put asterisk, select from data set. So then you will limit to 5. So select from data set, limit 5. So after you select, then you limit to 5. After you limit to 5, then you run this, execute this. So it's going to show you only the 5 of your data set. So you're able to know maybe the data set is already loaded. So now after we are done with that, so let's go to question 3. The question 3 will based on the we want to show only data set names and categories in our column. So let's show the only data set names and columns under the category. So I show only data set names categories. So if you want to show the only the data set names and categories, so this is how to go about that. So you will select name, comma, then category from the data set. So then you put this one there. Then after that, let's execute. So execute this one now. We are able to get the list of the names and category out of our data set. So that's the only result we want. So it will remove all the other column from the data set. It will show us only categories and then the names from the data set. So now let's also proceed to next questions, which I'm going to be setting forward. So let me set question 5. So these are basic data explorations we can do in SQL. So now let's say we want to list unique categories available. So if you want to list unique category available in your data set, so this is how to go about that. You will select distinct, because unique is also distinct. So after you select distinct, you select distinct categories. So from your data set, so after you select the distinct categories from your data set, it's going to show you the unique value under the category for you. So now let's execute this. So you see, so these are the unique distinct categories under the categories column. So and you can see it has added them together. If you have technology 2 times in your categories, it has added them together to be 1. So finance 2 can be duplicate, maybe 10 or 20, which I'm still going to examine that to show maybe we still have other things under it. So these are the ones you need to under the categories that sum everything, compile it together to show us that only technology, only finance, only health, only retail, only education are the list we have under the category. So now we have gotten that. So now let's proceed to another one. So another questions. So let me go back a bit. So come back down. So now under this part, we want to examine this. So the question 5. So under the question 5, we want to count. Let me write the board so that I'm able to see what I'm doing. So we say count the total. So count the total number of the data set. So how can we count the total number of data sets? So you will select. So we see that all the functions I've been using so far. So maybe I select. So select from. This for the data exploration. So for just to explore your data, to examine your data. So we make use of select some command the most in the query you are going to write. So now see, select count, then open the bracket, then put the asterisk. So under this, then you're able to select as total, because we are looking for the total of everything. So that means we are looking for the total of number of the data set. So you select from the total data set. Then after that, you say from data set. So after that, let's execute this. If you execute this now, it's going to show you the total of your data set, which is 50 on your list. So now let's go to the 6th questions. So for the 6th questions, we also want to show data sets. Show data sets where, let's say you want to show the data set where category where category is finance. So now let me write this where category is finance. So let's come here to show the categories. So we just say that select asterisk, so that we want to select from data set. So where, let me come down so that you're able to see it very clearly. Where category is equal to, so then I put this one out, say finance, so that you're able to get only the finance answer actually. So after you select from your data set, you now say where category is equal to finance, because that's what we are focusing on. So now we want to see only finance values. So we open it now. So it's going to show us this. So should be giving us the record. Select finance. So finance is not correct. So let me run it again. So it's finance. So we have this. So select asterisk from data set where category is finance. So we have seen the results for the finance only. So we can see that it's only finance only that is brought for us. So it's only finance data set that is brought for us. So only that finance details that we have here. So now we have selected only finance from the category. So and we got our result like that. So now let's also explore our data set more. Let's explore our data set more. So this will be for question 7. So we want to show let's say we want to show data set added after January. Let's say we want to see data set added from January. Let's say from January 1st 2024 upward. So how can we get that? How can we get the data added January 1st 2024 upward? So we want to get that. You select also, you just select asterisk from data set. So then let's examine where the one data set we want to run. So we just say where date added underscore added. Then we now put greater than, because we are looking for the one that is from that place, like the one that is added after January 1st. Put greater than January 1st. So we put the date of January 1st, that will be 2024 slash. But make sure you put the quotation mark. So /01. So we have gotten that now. Then go back here, put the comma. So now we have to select the data asterisk from the data set where the date added from this starting from. So let's execute this. So then to give us, you're having error. So this is greater than date data set where date added from this. Okay, now let's execute. Date now exists. Where date added underscore added under the data set. So I think there's one column there that does not exist. So select from the date added. So let me, you see, this is where the mistake is. Put him instead of this. So now we have it now. So now let's come here and check. So this is our column. So from the date added from January 1st. So the date starting from January 8th upward. So it started from January 8th upward. So that means he neglected January 1st. So it's starting from January 8th to downward. So that's it. So we can see the data set added after January 1st now. So very clearly. So and now for the second for the question 8, let me do that. So the question 8, go down a bit. So question 8, we have that to be showing that I want to let's show the data set. Let's show data set with more data set with more than 2100 records. So once show data set more than 2100 records. So how can we show that in our data set? So we select, put the asterisk there, select from data set. So then after that we will now say that where records is greater than 2100. As simple as that though. So then let's execute this. So now after we are done this, let's execute. So it's going to show us data set, where data set is going to show us data set which is more than under the record, which is more than 2100 record. So we can see that it's starting from 2101 upward. So that's it. So I've gotten our result now. So let's go to the question 9. So for the question 9, we want to find the data set. So we want to find the data set with the eyes. Let me put it with the highest number. The highest number of records. The highest number of records. The highest number of records. How can you get that? So we want to find data set with the highest number of records. How can we get that? We say select, put the asterisk, select from data set. So order by records. So desk. So limit 1. So now let me execute this. So the limit desk, okay, under data set records desk. So we can see that this is the highest one among all the data sets. So the highest data set under the record is 50, and it has a record of 3,813. So that's it. So I've gotten that. So now let's go to the question 10. So this is going to be the last question under the data exploration. So let's say we want to show data set. From category. So then let's show that. So from category rotate or edge. So let me come here. So now for the edge too. So now under this one, now come down. So for us to show the data set from category rotate or edge, so just select asterisk from data set. So you say where category, and so open bracket. So want to refer to that table, to that value we are looking for. So that will be retails, where category is retails, comma, come back, put comma here. So then you also say an edge. So now after you make a reference to this, then let's execute. So we execute this now. It's going to show you only the retails and edge details. So and these are their details here. So these are their details here. So all the education and all the every other things has been removed. So we have only and retail details in our data set. So that's how to go about that. So we have finished up with data exploration. Now we want to go to filtering and sortings of our data set. So, and that will be for section 2. Section 2. So we want to go for filtering and sorting. Of data set. So how can we filter and sort our data set? So in this data set that I load here, so we are going to set some basic questions to answer here. So I'm going to be taking us step by step on how to go about it. So this is for the question number 1. We want to show data set. With let's say with 2100, with 2000, and then 2200, 2200. So we want to show the data set that have this. So that have this under our records. So now for us to get a data set that have 2000 and 2200 that records. So how can we go about that? So this is under filtering and sorting. When we're talking about filtering and sorting, that means you're examining the data, sorting it, filtering it, or to make sure that maybe you're looking for examining or the descending order of your data set, the one that has the highest, the one that's starting from maybe a specific value, a specific number from your data set. I'm going to be sorting it to show it. Now you have the first question to be showing the data set with 2000 and 2200 records. So select asterisk. You put the asterisk from data set. So now see that where name like let me put this first. Where name like data set is equal to where name like data set under this. You know that you have a data set in our list, so it's equal to 1%. So let me just do that. So it's going to be showing you data set that have one maybe 1 13 14 13 14 15 16. So it's going to be showing you those data sets. So it can also be 10, it can also be 1000 upward. So now after we execute this, so let's see the result. So that shows us this one now. I will have our list of the data set here. So and under those data sets we have the record that is starting from 2000 to 2200 under the list here. 2200. So that means it's going from that upward, from that 2000 to 2200 upward. So and if you check the data set here, is 10 11 12 13. So that's what we put in our listing to show it for us. So and we get this as a result. So now once you look at the question 2. So let's have the question 2. So the question 2, let's say we want to show data set. Where the name starts. So once you show data set where the name starts with data set 1. I think you have data set 1 here now. Yes. So let's find the dataset 1. So the name that start with dataset 1. So how can we get that? So just say select, put the asterisk there, say from dataset, where the name, just like I told you earlier that you are using SQL is like you are communicating with database. So it's very simple, so like put this one there, like let me come here, just that will be dataset. So just like you are communicating with your communicating with your query. So that's it for the question number 1. So that's it. So let's have these questions again. So that will be select from that question number 1. So let's have it again. So that will be question number 1. Select, because we're having data set with 2000. So let's select from data set. Let's select from data set where records, we say record between 2000 and 2200. So let's run this, because we are looking for the database from that area. So let me examine this. 2000 to 2200 records between. So my between is not correct. So now let me run this, execute this. So it shows me this. So those are the data set that are in between that 2000 to 2200 range. So as you can see, this is my result. So now after we're done with this, think, so that's the best answer for that question. So and for this one, we made a mistake there, so let's correct that. So for this one, say show data set where the names start with data set 1. So let me come here and put percentage here. So that will be 1%. So now let's execute this. Before we execute it, make sure that it's data set that you have there. So now like data set, like okay. Now let's proceed and run this. So we have that former answer we have for that one. So now let's go to question 3. So say question 3 here. So for the question 3, we want to list, let's say we want to list data set. We want to list data set not in the data set that are not in the finance. So let me say finance, and then data set that are not in finance category. So we want to look for the data set that are not in finance category. How can we get that? So for us to get data set that are not in finance under the categories, so this is how to go about that. So you select, put asterisk from data set. So you say where category. So let me put this like that. Say where category is equal to finance. So make sure that you indicate the place, the part you are looking for very well. So now after that, let's execute this. So just select asterisk from data set where category is finance. So now let's execute this and see our result. So it's only finance we are going to see. The category has been, finance has been removed, so it's only health, retail and technology is going to be there. So under the categories, we don't want to see finance there. So the only thing we want to see is the other value we have there. So that's the list of data sets not in finance category. So the list of data sets that are not in finance categories are this. So you can see the list here. So at this. So now I've gotten that. So now let's go to the next questions, which is going to be question 4. So say question 4. So and for the question 4, we want to sort. It says sort data set. So data set added. Okay, so data set by record. Let me say by records. So data set by records in the let's say in descending. Let's say in descending order in our list. So and for us to select sort data set by record in descending order, so this is how to go about that. So you say select, you put the asterisk from data set. So and if you select from data set, so you order it because you want to arrange it. So order by records. Order by records desk. So now after you are done with this, so let's execute this to see data set under this one out. So let's execute. So it's going to show us this. Data set here. So and we have this. So that's it. So now let's proceed to question 5. So for us to get this question 5 too as well, so let's say that we want to show data set. So data set added. So data set added before we want to get data set added before February. February 1st, 2024. So let's go with that. So for us to get data sets added before February 31st, February 1st in our data set. So you say select asterisk from data set. So where date underscore added. So and then we have it to be, let's say 2024/02/01. So then for us to execute this, we'll put this one there. So now let's execute and see data set added from that range. So and we can see this is our data set. So the data set added before February is at this. So this is our January data. This is our January data. So there's no February in it. You can see 01, 01, 1, 08, 015. So January 15, January 12, 22, January 29. So and that's where we stop. So before February 1st. So and that's that. So now let's go to question 6. Question 6. For us to get the, let's say we want to get data set in technology. So technology or education. If you want to get data set in technology or education, so let's say we want to get data set technology and education. So with greater than 2,100 records. So these are the value we are focusing on. It's greater than 2,100 records. So how can we get that? So it says select asterisk from a data set. So you will now say that where category in. So and you now state what you are looking for. You are looking for technology, then comma, then you also look for education. So make sure you state everything clear. So now after you state that, then you now come here and say, and record should not greater than this part, which is should not greater should be should be greater than, all the records should be greater than 2100, so in your list. So after you have done writing this, so now let's put it, so you're able to see this. So and that's all. So I think my last video I shows how to load the data sets, which I'm going to, you can go back and watch it on how to load the data set inside. So now for the question 7, so we have question 7 here. So for us to, okay, let's say we want to show the data set. Data set by categories, comma. So we want to show data set by category, then the record to be descending. Let's say we want to show the record to be descending. So here we have the list of the data sets here. So by category, then we want to make it to be descending order. So, and for us to get that now, so we select asterisk from data set. So from data set, so then order by select from data set, order by category. Then we ask, comma, then you have the record. So that will be records desk. So now let's execute this. So it has ascending each other now. So ascending and descending. So let's execute this. So it's going to show us the list of the data sets here. So and we can see that sort data set and make sure that data set is following each other, the ascending order. So that's for that, for the question. So you can see the data set category by category to be descending order. So that's for that. Let me copy this for question. Let me copy this for question 8. So let's write the question 7. So in this form, so we want to show the data set by category, then record descending. So okay, I think you have the question correct, you have the answer correct. So let me leave it. So now let's go back to the question 8. So we write the question 8, we reach 2 as well, but let me answer the question 8. So that we want to show the, for my data set, we want to show data set added on Monday alone. So we want to show data set added on Monday. So how can we get data set added on Monday? Let me put on a Monday. So how can we get data set added on a Monday? So you will select, put the asterisk from data set. So and if you are looking for anything day, so I told you you will make use of do. So that will be where extract, come back, where extract, open bracket, do, then you now say from your date. We are looking for the date, so you say date underscore added, so added. So now for us to get this, now after we done with this, so we close the bracket, then you now say is equal to 1, because that's the first day of the day of the week, so which is Monday. So after you write the Monday, then you execute to be 1. So now we run this, so it's going to show us the day of the first day of the month of the week, which is Monday. So and all these data set we have here is for Monday, so it's for Monday, all is for Monday. So you can share the date, you can share the actual date that is there, so it's going to be Monday on the calendar. So now we have this now. Let's come here and answer question 9. So and the question 9, let's say we want to show data set with even number. So this one can be funny enough, can be funny small of the record. So under the records, you want to see only the even numbers. So how can we get that? So you say select asterisk from dataset. So now after you select asterisk from dataset, you now say that where the mode is open bracket record. So want to the mode, I use mode prompt there to indicate the calculations of even. The mode is for even, so I use mode for even. So if you say mode, so now reference the records maybe for the even number. An even number is 1, so it's adding 1. Why the even number is 2, yes, that'll be 2, 4, and 6, 8, and so on and so forth. So we have the record to be 210. So then you will now state that is equal to, everything is equal to 0, so to indicate the value you are looking for. So after you limit it with that, then let's execute this. It's going to show us the even number from there. I think we have so the errors that we have because we did not state the columns very well. The column should be records. So now let's execute this. We have our answer. So that's it. So now that's how to go about that for question 10. So let's go to question 9. Let's go to question 10. So this is question 10. So for us to, let's say we want to show the question 3. 3 most recent data set. So we want to show 3 most recent data set. So they want that just like the 3 most recent data sets in our listing. So how can we get that? So it says select asterisk from data set. So make sure you order by date underscore added. So you put that, then you limit it to 3. So because I'm looking for 3, so you limit it to 3. Then let's execute. So if you execute this, it's going to show you the most recent data set. Added. So we have 50, we have 49, we have 48. So those are the most recent ones that they add last, and the three of them are 48, 49, 50. So that's it. That's how to go about that. So I think we are done with the sorting and filtering. So we are done with the sorting and filtering, and the third section, that'll be section 3. So the section 3 is going to be for aggregation and grouping. So how can we aggregate and group our data set? So for there, let's have the question number 1. So the question number one, before I go, let me go back a little bit so that you're able to understand the concept behind this question one by one. So now for the question number 1, we say we want to count, let's say we want to count of data set in each category. How can we count data set in each category? So for us to get each data set in each category, you have to select category first. After select category, then you say count. Then under it, put the asterisk there. So that means you want to count the category as what? As total. Because we are looking for this as a data set, I mean. So that will be data set underscore count. So that means we are counting for the data set count too. So that means data set that you have, we want to count everything. So now say that from data set, so let's group it by category. So then after we are done with this, let's execute. So it's going to count it and then group by category. So under this one now, we have technology to be 10, finance will be 10. So that means the duplicate of the technology is 10. So the duplicate of finance also is 10. The duplicate of health is 10. The duplicate of retail also is 10. The education also is 10. So all are 10. So these are the queries. Select categories, count as a data set count from data set, group by category. So we have that result. So now for the question 2 now. So for the question 2, we want to find the average. Number. Let's say we want to find the average number of records per data set. So average number of records per data set, how can you get that? So if you want to get the average number of records by data set, you will select average. That will be average for records first. So after you select the average for records, so that means the value for records should be calculated. Only the average should be recorded. So under the records, we calculate the average of the records. That is sum the average of the records together to be 1. So now see that as AVG, as average, write it full as average underscore records. Then after you are done with that, then make sure you now see that you select from, because we are focusing on data sets. Say select from data set. So after you are done, let's execute this. So now if you execute this, it's going to show you the average of the data set under the records. So which are these? So that select it and then select the average of the record as the average record from the data set. So this is the main of your data set, this is the average. So the main of your data set, add everything together from A to Z, then divided it by 50. So and after divided by 50, you have this. So that's it. So is it the reason why the queries in SQL is very easier than even the Z2 so as well? So you can see it's like communicating with your data sets, communicating with your database. So now let's have the question 3. So for the question 3, so let's say we want to find the minimum and maximum. So maximum number of records. So we want to find the minimum and maximum number of records per category. So now for us to get the minimum and maximum number of record per category, so this is how to go about that too. So let's come here. So we want to select, so we say select, we select category, comma. So then in front of it you have the minimum. So the minimum records, go back here, say as minimum underscore records, comma. So then after that you will now have maximum too, so we want to calculate the maximum against you as well. So that will be maximum records, as max, so as max record, as max underscore records. So now after we have calculated the minimum and the maximum, then you will now say that from dataset, because we are focusing on the dataset. So now from dataset, where category, so we reverse to the category, where category is equal to for the other one. So I think let's group it by, because it said that minimum and maximum record per category. So let's group it by category. So that will be group by category. So let's group by category. So now come here and write category. So after we group by category, so it's going to show us the minimum and maximum value for every one of them. So and now let's execute. So we have the minimum and maximum value for technology. So this is the minimum, 2,100 and that will be 111. So and the highest one is 3,776. So and for the finance 2,000, the highest one is 3,665. So that's group it by category. So now so we have gotten that. So now let's go to the question 4. For the question 4, we also want to find the total. We want to find the total number of records. For it. We want to find the total number of records for it category. So let's say it's only 8 category we are looking for. So for each category now, we want to find the total number of record for each category. So how can we get that? So you will select, then after you select, let's say you want some selection, open bracket records. Yes. After that you put this as what? As total underscore, because you are calculating for total of it. So that will be total of it, total underscore it records, total underscore it records. So now after we calculate the total it record, now say that from the dataset, so now from dataset where category is equal to it, as simple as that. So you say category is equal to it. So this to show us the actual variable we are focusing on. So now after we have this, we run it to this total score for it. So it total sum everything under it, and it return this for us. So that's 28,695. That's total list for it under the record. So you can see that we have technology, we have education too as well. So the only one that it calculates for us is the it. So now after we got that, now let's go to the question 5. Question 5. Let's say the dataset added per month. So once you get dataset added per month, how can we get dataset added per month? from, you put from. So this one, you you use two char for date. So after for the date added, so you write two char underscore two char, and I explained that one in yesterday class about two char. So I say that it's under the date command, so that we use to indicate the date we are in. So now we have the yy here, then dot so that's for the year is for 2024, so it's there, so that we use 4y, and for the for the month maybe 06 or 09, so we use 2m. So now after you are done with that, go back here as month, so calculate it as month, comma, then we also want to count as data set count, because we are focusing on data set now. So you say data set count. So after that, now say that from data set, everything you are going to work, so from data set. So now you also need to group it by, so group it by that date. So that will be data group by that to chart the variable characteristic of the date. So now open the bracket and say date added underscore added. So now after we group by date again, so now come back here, put the comma. So then we have yy dot so now let's come back to this part. So we have to order by month. We are ordering it by months. So we are ordering by month because that's what he said. They say data set added per month. So after we are ordering by month, now put the semicolon, let's execute. So we have our result. So the date January 1st. So this is the list. So it's calculating for January. January is how many there? The occurrence of the data added for January is 5. The data added for February is 4. Data added for March is 4, and is 4 also 4. Data added for April is also 4. So those are the data adding up for each month. So you check the list of your data set, you see there. So the one that added for January, if you count it one by one, you will see that it's 5. The one that added for February, you count one by one. The one added for it also is 4. So that's how to get that. So now let's go to question 6. So let me have question 6 here. So how can we go about that? So let me say we want to find the average number of records. We want to find the average number of records per category. So how can we get the number of records per category? So this is how to go about that. So you select category first. So after you select category, then you put comma, then you say average, that will be AVG of the records, calculate for the records. Then after you calculate the average of the records, then you will calculate as average, that will be AVG underscore records. Now after we're done with this, we go back and say from your data, because we are deriving the data set from your data set. So now let's group it by category. So let's come in. So then let's execute this from this part. So if you execute this, it's going to show you the mean of everything. Of the technology, we have the mean. For the finance, we have the mean. For the earth, we have the mean. For retail, we have the mean. So it's calculating the mean for everything for us at once. So, and also for this one, you can even extract if you want to add together, but this this is the mean for technology. So you add them together and divided by, the technology is occurring by five times. So you added it together, divided by 5. So it divided this the value there by 10. I mean, so after we divided by 10, so the mean of it is which is 2,943.5000. And for the finance too, you add them together divided by 10. So you have this total there too as well. So that's how to go about that. So now let's go to the question 7. So for the question 7, we want to calculate the category data set. So that's good. Question 7, category. Let's learn for the category with the highest total records. So we want to look for the category with the highest total records. So now how can we get that? So you select, after you select category first, so you have to sum it together. So you sum of the records first. So after you sum the records, so that will be records. So after you sum the records, so now as total underscore records. So after we have this total of the records from your data set, now you have to group it by category. After you group by category, then you order by total underscore records by seconds, by descending order, that will be DSK. So then let's limit it to 1. So I just want to see the only one out of all. So total sum of everything. So just want to see the total sum of all the records, just all the records. So if we execute this data sum for all the records and education. So now if you want to see everything, you can just put your this thing there, and let's see for the other ones too. That's sum for all the categories. So you can see the highest one is education. So, and if you want to see everything, so this is for the education, this is for the technology, this is for the retail, this is for the health, this is for the finance. So total sum everything. So but the highest one of all is education. So that's how to go about that. So now let's go to question 8. For the question 8 now, we want to count data set with greater than 2000 records. So how can we get that? So data set greater than 2000 records per category. So you say select category, comma, count open bracket asterisk as I under what, that will be under records underscore data set. So from data set, so we say where records is greater than 2001, because that's what I'm looking for. That will be 2000. Let me come here and write 2000. So now we have to group it by, we say group by category. So that's what we're focusing on. So after we are done with this, now let's execute this. So we can see that I look by categories. So and we have this now. So so the data set that are lower than 2000 it's only finance that have only one data set that lower than 2000. So but other one, all their data are all above greater than 2000. So I will have them to be 10. So that's it. That's how to go about that. So we have done with the question 8. Let's go to question 9. For the question 9, I want to look for the earliest. And the latest. Let's say earliest and latest data set per category. So the earliest and latest data set per category. So how can we do that? We say select category, comma, then we have the minimum. So now we have date underscore added. So now then we go back to this part because we are looking for the earliest and latest data set added. So another the category. So you have to calculate for the latest data set and the earliest one, so that you can be able to get the one that they add. So you will say as first added. This one will be for the first added. Underscore. So comma. So now we also have for the maximum date added. So let's add for the maximum. So we calculate for the minimum date, from the minimum date to the highest one. So for each month, for each list of our data set. So now we have calculated for the minimum to be first added. So we calculate for the maximum date to be latest added. So that will be as last added. So now after we are done with this, now let's come here and say from data set. So now then let's group it by category. So now let's execute this and run. So we have these results. So I group by category. We have the first added date and the last added date. So we can see that in technology they add from January 1st to January 2022, January 22 to December 02. That's 1202. So and the finance started adding from January 1st 01 to November 11. So and for the year it started adding from January 1st to January 8th to November 18. So that's how they add together upwards like that. So we have that. So and for the question 10. So the question is going to be for the want to calculate for the total records. You calculate for total records per day. Calculate total record per day of the week. So how can we get that? So we select to extract. So we are calculating anything date. So we will select and extract. Then we have the do from date added. That will be date underscore added. You calculate that as a day of the week. That will be as day of week. Now after you calculate as day of week, then you have to sum it together. Sum the records together. So after you sum the records as total underscore records. So now you will now go and reverse to your data set. So from data set from data set. So now you have to group it. Group by extract open bracket, row from what, from the date added, because you are looking for the date added, so that will be from the date added. So now from the date added, okay, from the date added, yes, so we are correct. Now say that we want to order it. If you order it by extract, okay, so let's order it by date added, date of the week, because we already created the column for that. So that will be date of the week, date of weeks. So that's it. So we want to get the data record per day of weeks now. So data of day of the week, having date of the week, so date added, so having error, order by extract to from date added, so go by order by day of the week. Let me check my query very well. We select extract day of the week, comma, some records, total records. So and also we have the data set group by to order by day of the week. You say under the column date of week, column date of week does not exist. So let me check. The date of the week did not exist in our column. It should be day of the week. So this one is not exist, is day, so we have to be day. So let me execute now. So we have the day of the week is 14,525. so it's day of the week. So that's where the mistake is. So day of the week, so now it's not date. So that's how we got that. So one day of the week, it has total record of 145325. So that means if you have this in a week, so for the other week too, you can sum it together by yourself. You know how many weeks you have per year? 52 weeks. So you can multiply this by 52, get total of everything that you have there. So that's how to go about that. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos like this. So God bless you. Thank you.